So here are 5 Asperger's symptoms or traits, characteristics that you don't know, but you definitely should know. And the last one, by the way, guys, is going to blow your mind. Okay, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've done a few videos on different things like, you know, how you understand Asperger's and how you kind of can spot it kind of quite commonly. There are some underlying traits and characteristics of Asperger's syndrome that you probably don't realize are part of Asperger's syndrome. So I'm going to go through those with you right now. And just before we get into it, guys, I just want to say that Asperger's syndrome is autism, right? There is no difference anymore. Well, there is never any difference anyway, but there's no difference between Asperger's syndrome and autism. It's just a nomenclature or a naming type of thing that was used up until 2013 in the DSM, which is like the main way that they diagnose people on the autism spectrum using this manual. Anyway, all that changed. However, people still use the term sometimes, hence why we're still using it here. So let's get on with the video. Number 1, these are tics. Now, what are tics? Tics are involuntary, negative or positive movements that can occur through things like nerves or anxiousness or excitement. So an autistic person may feel maybe worried about something, right? And this worry could cause them to kind of jerk. Like they could have a tic where they like maybe make a noise, or they scream, or they tick their head back, or they close their eyes, or they, for me, I hit my chest and I cough, I go like, ugh. And it happens all the time. Now, the tics always increase when I'm in more heightened areas of kind of like anxiety or worry, or if I'm getting really excited to do something really fun, like if I'm like at a theme park, we're going on a roller coaster or something, then that kind of happens. But tics are very common. Now, a lot of people don't associate tics with autism. They associate tics with something called Tourette syndrome. And Tourette syndrome is a condition that mainly impacts a person's life with these involuntary tics or tic behavior that would negatively impact their life mainly. Now, tics are not common with everybody on the autism spectrum, but I am familiar with most people who are diagnosed with level 1 or level 2 autism, which used to be called Asperger's syndrome, will have these tics. So again, everything that we talk about, it's not that everybody's going to have every single one, but they're going to have most of those. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so number 2 is hyposensitivity. What is hyposensitivity? Well, this is really interesting. Like everything, we have 2 sides, right? We have like north and south, we have up and down or whatever. And hyposensitivity is the opposite of hypersensitivity. And hyper means that you are more akin to feeling things heavier than other people. So hypersensitivity would be like, if I picked up this cold bottle, I'd feel that coldness a lot more because I'm hypersensitive. But we all know that because a lot of autistic individuals have issues with sound and sight and smell. However, what we don't talk about, which is the underlying one, which you can have both. You can have hyper and hypo sometimes at the same time, but sometimes you just have hyposensitivity, which is where you don't feel the things. So you could be picking up something that's completely frozen solid and it's so cold that it'll give your fingers frostbite, yet you don't feel it. So you may come across somebody who's on the autism spectrum who would be outside in a t-shirt in the middle of winter and it's snowing and you're like, dude, like it's freezing. Like, what are you doing? And they're saying, oh, I don't really feel the cold. They're not trying to be like cool. They're actually like hyposensitive to the temperature. Now, there are some things that people can be hyposensitive to and other things that they can be hypersensitive to in the same person, which is a whole new thing. Now, if you'd like me to do a video specifically on hypo versus hypersensitivity, pop me a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are on that and if you'd like to see that, because that'd be really interesting. So, number 3 is trouble sleeping. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you the amount of medication and potions and herbal things that I've taken to try and help me sleep at night, right? And just for your information, guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Dan. I have autism and ADHD. I was diagnosed with Asperger's and ADHD back in 2013. If you're new around here and you want to learn more about this kind of stuff, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below by hitting that notification bell to stay in with all these videos. And I upload daily videos across all platforms. So, that being said, I have not yet found anything other than sleep relaxation therapy. So autistic individuals will have a super hyperactive mind. Their mind is going 10 times faster than anybody else's mind, right? Why? Because their brains work differently, okay? So the wiring of the neurons are slightly different in people on the autism spectrum, right? Which means that their brains are kind of not using certain functions of neurological transfers and they're using others, which is a fancy term for saying that, like, hey, rather than being on the highway just doing kind of normal speed, we're in like hovercars, like zooming across the universe. And this is all well and good when we're trying to solve problems and learn new things, like maybe you're talented like as a musician or an engineer, or you're a programmer or something cool like that. However, when you're trying to sleep and you're trying to rest that brain that's going like 10 to the dozen, there's no sleep to be had. And this is very common with autistic individuals, and hence it leads into the next trait which I'm going to talk to you about. But mainly people who have this level 1, level 2 autism will have trouble sleeping. Now, not to say that people who have level 3 autism or more profound needs with autism have trouble sleeping. Quite on the contrary, I'm sure they have those as well. But just for people on the autism spectrum who have Asperger's syndrome, or this level 2, or low support needs autism, definitely sleep is going to be interrupted. And this is actually quite debilitating, because it actually impacts all your other things, and you don't have enough mental capacity and energy to go forward. It means you're going to hit burnout and you're going to hit meltdown, and yeah, life's going to be difficult. So one of the best ways I found to manage this, and this is a pro tip, guys, I use an app called Balance. I think you get it free for a year. And it's like sleep meditation. You just put it on and listen to it, and by the time you finish listening to it, you're already asleep. That's the only thing I found that actually helps me go to sleep. Before that, I used to have to listen to rain sounds, like a background, like a white noise thing. Anyway, if you're looking for online counseling directly from your home to use your tablet or smartphone or computer, then I definitely recommend checking out BetterHelp. Now, BetterHelp actually helped me. They find you a therapist within 24 hours bespoke to your specific needs. So say you have ADHD or you have some other health condition that you put down, they will find you within 2 days, really. They'll find you a therapist for that. Now, you can go to the link in the description down below, or you can go to theaspieworld.com/BetterHelp right now to get started. I do get a commission for anybody who signs up, but I think this is a valuable service, and I've used this myself, so I'm just handing that over to you. Okay, let's get on with it. So back to the video. The thing that comes on if you're having trouble sleeping, the next thing that's going to happen, this is a common trait of people on the autism spectrum who have been diagnosed with Asperger's or level 2 to level 1 autism, which is junk food addiction. Like, don't get me wrong, everybody loves junk food, right? I love junk food. But I also find myself addicted to junk food because my brain is going too fast and it's not getting enough sleep. So it needs all this carbohydrate and sugar to keep it going because it wants its energy. And you may be asking the question, oh, why don't you just drink caffeine? Well, this is the interesting thing. Most people with autism also have ADHD. Now, to treat ADHD, to get more focused, usually people will have stimulants. Now, what is caffeine? Caffeine is a stimulant. But why would a stimulant help ADHD? Because ADHD brains are so hyperactive that when you take on board a stimulant, it actually calms you down, which is really interesting. So you have to have something else. What could you have? Sugar. Sugar is going to give you short-term, small bursts of energy, carbohydrate rich. It's great. The downfall of it is all of the food that is carbohydrate rich is also really bad for you, and junk food is not the most nutritious food, so you end up filling up on things that are giving you good brain chemistry activity, but low in their nutritional value and overall content for your body. It is no good. But if you know somebody who's on the autism spectrum, or you are on the autism spectrum yourself and you're addicted to junk food, pop me a comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. I feel like I'm calling you out, but I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying, like, I'm there too, guys. Like, this is me. Okay, so number 5, I promise you this won't be so bizarre and, like, it's going to shock you. It's going to blow you away. This one is autistic individuals always look younger than they are. Now, this is really interesting. You might be like, damn, what on earth are you talking about? No, we all look our age. No, we don't. So a friend of mine is a really good example of this. So first of all, I'm 38, right? I'm close to 40, but a lot of people think that I'm in my late 20s, early 30s, but I'm actually in my late 30s, early 40s. Now, a friend of mine, Chloe Hayden, she's an autism advocate, and she was a YouTuber. Now she's an actress, and she's on Netflix in the Heartbreak High. I think that's what it's called. It's an Australian kind of TV show. Anyway, Chloe's autistic, and Chloe is in her late 20s, but actually looks like she's in her early 20s, maybe like 19, right? She looks super, super young. And why is this? I'm not entirely sure. There is no real explanation. Why do autistic people look younger than they should be? Or why do they look younger than their actual age? I don't know. Is it genetics? Is it because the neurological path? We don't know, but we just know that it is a phenomenon that does actually happen, which I find just fascinating. If you'd like my Autism Life Hacks PDF book for free, you can go to the link down below or go to autismtips.net right now and get your copy.